Hey everyone, welcome back to a new video, or welcome if you're new here today. I'm Karrie Lynn, and today I'm going to be sharing a big project that we have planned. I cannot wait to share this with you guys. Y'all have encouraged us to do this for years and years and years. We have been in this house for 4 years, and I'm not even kidding you. I think within like the first 6-7 months of being here, y'all started suggesting adding on to the house, like whether that was closing in the carport or adding an addition out back, adding an addition. Why is it so hard for me to say that? Adding an addition to the front. Do something. Get you a she shed because, girl, you don't have enough space. Anyway, we are building a she shed, a very big she shed. We're gonna call it a she shed, but really it's just like an addition. It is going to be my office. It's going to be our laundry room, like a whole outdoor living space. It's going to be amazing. I have planned this out like to a T, sizing, everything. It's just like I have worked so hard at rendering an idea of exactly what I wanted, putting together a whole 3D model. Like I want this to be perfect. And I actually went 2 days ago to an engineer and sat down to go over the pricing of having plans drawn to build this by ourselves from ground up. And I sat down with him, we talked, we also talked about closing in our carport, like that was an option. And I'll explain why we decided not to go with that in just a minute, but okay, I'll just tell you real quick. So basically our carport right now is up to code from when the house was built. So moving forward, if we want to close in the carport, it has to be up to code to 2024 standards. And in order, or 2023 standards, because we just got into the new year, so they haven't generated the new codes or whatever. But he said that because it was built in 1970, it is most likely not right. It needs to be rebuilt. So not only would we be having the cost of closing in the carport, framing, pulling the permit, all that, we would also probably have to rebuild the roof, which is an additional cost. We're going from like $15,000-$20,000 to like $50,000-$60,000 to basically redo all that side of the house, which was obviously not something we were willing to pay for this home. So it's like, absolutely not, scratch that plan. And then I mentioned the building out back. He was like, it's much better, especially if you have an older home, to build onto it new versus trying to work with what you have as far as like closing in something, unless that's your only option. Obviously not everyone has the backyard space to do what we're doing. If this was your only option, that would just be your option. But because we have the ability to put the building out back, he suggested going with that option. So it is not attached to the house, so technically it's not considered an addition. It's kind of like a sub-unit is the way that they described it. That's kind of what they're calling it. So, but for us, it's like it's a shed. It's basically a shed that we're converting into a like tiny home in a sense. So what we're gonna do is, after talking to the engineer, I got the pricing on drawing the plans. By the way, I had already had a plan drawn for what I wanted, sizing, all that. I knew exactly where I wanted the plumbing to go. I knew exactly where I wanted everything. I just needed someone who does that for a living to do it, you know, properly, and then sign it so I could go get a permit through the city. Well, it ended up being $2,300 just to draw the plans. That did not include the permit. And then that would just be for the plans only. Then we'd have to go get a permit, then have someone pour the concrete, then get an inspection on the concrete, and then get a permit for doing the framework, and then get an inspection on the framework once it's done. And I mean, I could just go on and on. The electrical, same thing, all of it. So I ended up calling a general contractor just to get his opinion, and he recommended going through just a manufactured shed instead, and talk to someone like that. So of course I get on Google and I'm like, sheds near me, and I'm looking, and I'm driving down the road, and I see that there's a sheds for less in our area. So I was like, oh, you know what? Let me just swing on in there and just take a peek. So I go into sheds for less, I pull up, and I get out and I start kind of walking around the little area where they have all their sheds set up, and I go into one, I take a little video, and I'm like, this could work. It's a lot smaller than what I wanted. It was a 12 by 10, I believe he said. Or wait, yeah, I think it was like a 12 by 10. So it wasn't massive, but it was big enough I could make that work. And I take a little tour of that, but the pricing was a little high. And here's the kicker, okay? We can't just have a pre-manufactured shed moved to our backyard. It has to be built on site because we don't have any access to our backyard other than like a small gate. So you know how some people will remove fences and then, you know, have someone back in a fence, or I'm sorry, not back in a fence, back in a shed. We don't have that option because we have neighbors on all corners. Every one of us have fences. And then I have a telephone pole on this side and I have my carport on that side. So I don't have the room either way, even if we rip out all the fences, to get a shed back here. There's just absolutely no way. Our neighbor did offer to let us come through his yard and he would tear out the fence and help us. They're our friends, by the way, which I thought was really kind, but that's just like a whole job. And they literally just put in their privacy fence. So I was like, no, we just need to have someone that can build it on site. So anyway, we decided to go through Sheds for Less. Okay, so like I said, we decided to go through Sheds for Less, but while I was on the lot looking at the sheds they had there, Neal actually came out and introduced himself to me, and I ended up working with Neal and Mike, and I'll leave their info down below. They're at Sheds for Less. They are great. They were so kind, knowledgeable, and they actually offered advice because originally I went in going to get like a wood frame with like vinyl siding type of shed, one that's like already, you know, pre-manufactured. And they were actually recommended doing the steel building because number one, it's cheaper. It also allows me to do most of the work that I want to do on the inside because my husband and I, we want to learn how to do this. We want to learn how to frame and drywall and do all those things, and we just think it's going to be such a fun, exciting project to share, to work towards having a full, you know, addition almost in a sense, like a little tiny house out back. And we have just like so many plans. We've been so excited talking about everything. I did come up with a full like generated 3D model of what I want. And I did take some footage while I was at Sheds for Less because I was able to tell them the sizes I want, where the windows, you know, how many windows I want, where the doors are, all of that. So they were really kind and helped me walk through that process on the size, the roof, the colors, the siding, everything. And I'll include that footage here of me at the office planning out our building. And then I'm gonna show you guys our backyard, show you the 3D plan, and you know, kind of share with you the steps that we have to take to get to this point because we gotta move kind of fast. We did jump into this project head first. And that's just how we like to work. We keep ourselves on our toes, that's for sure. And I told my husband yesterday, it was funny, we were sitting on the porch, and I was like, I don't know why, why do we do this to ourselves? I was like, we have so much work to do in such a short amount of time. And I was like, I think we just jump head first too fast. He's like, yeah, you do. I'm like, sir, no, I asked, okay? So I just want to make this clear. It's not like I'm not here just making these random decisions by myself. We talked. I was like, you can't put this on me, okay? Because now we have a lot of work ahead of us, and we're both like, kind of like, oh my God, where do we start? And he's trying to put the blame on me. I'm putting the blame on him. Like, I did not move forward with this without your approval, sir. And I have texts to prove it. I forgot to mention a big important thing. I'm all over the place. I did not plan this out very well. I was gonna sit down and make notes and make this all like professional, but I just got too excited. You know, it's like one of those things like yesterday, I was so excited to share with you guys. It was like I wanted to call you and be like, oh my gosh, y'all, guess what? You know, it feels that way. And I am so honored to be sitting here even announcing this. Like I cannot. I'm going to talk about pricing and all that too. I want to be 100% transparent on all of it, just in case you're ever in the position where you want to do the same. So one of the benefits of going through Sheds for Less for this building is not only do they pull the permits, they pour the concrete, they're going to install the building. All of that is taken care of through one company at one cost. Instead of me having to call here and get this thing and do this and do that, it's going to be so much better to just go through one. And it also ended up being a lot more affordable as well, especially for the size of the building that we decided to go with. So out the door at this moment, now obviously this all is like a customized number based off of what I chose to do with the windows, the doors, all that, and the siding. I ended up doing vertical instead of horizontal. What else? I'm trying to think of all the customizations. I changed the color. So out the door, my price was $13,700. That includes the concrete permits and the building. That is not bad at all, in my opinion. That is an excellent price for what we're getting. At first I was like, you know, that seems a little high, but concrete alone, just to pour the concrete, is like $5,000. So the actual shed itself really isn't that bad price if you think about the cost of like the materials and the building process, and at least it's going to be done properly. Like I know for sure the shell and the concrete, everything is going to be done right. And I also have a 20-year warranty on the steel building, which is incredible. So that's really great. So definitely some great benefits going through the Sheds for Less company. And so far everything has been easy breezy. I hope that everything stays that way. They were very reassuring. They're like, we got you, like it's gonna be great. You're gonna love it. We're excited for you. We can't wait to see your videos. Cause I did mention, well, obviously when I went through the whole process of buying it, they asked what I did for a living, and I ended up telling them that I'm a YouTuber. And they thought that was super cool. They were really excited to see the process. But I will say, this is not sponsored in any way. They did not take a dime off of my total just because of social media. I wanted to make that clear. I know sometimes, like, when it comes to doing projects like this, they can be sponsored, which would be amazing. However, this is not. This is not a sponsored project at all. At least the concrete and the shell, the actual building. Now, when it comes to doing the inside, flooring, drywall, I'm really hoping and praying I can get some sponsors, because that will help us afford the building, you know, a little bit faster. If not, we'll just work slowly but surely and we'll get what we can done debt-free. So that is the game plan. But let's jump into the footage of me at Sheds for Less. I'll show you guys my little custom building, and then I'll show you my 3D rendering of what's gonna happen after the building's here.
All right, so we have that.
Okay.
Anything else before we move forward?
That is 10 foot. I feel like that's so big. It looks so
tall. Now, what are you using it as an office?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, 8-foot walls would.
Now, is that 10 to the side or 10 to the peak?
10 to the side. Yeah, that's 14 at the peak. Right. It's gonna be huge in your backyard.
Mm-hmm. See, because right now my shed is 10 to the peak.
Right.
So, oh yeah, we don't need that.
No. If you want something like that, I would suggest. So it's a 12-foot pitch. So if we went 7 foot.
Okay.
Yeah. 7 foot. We have to go 8 foot to have it.
Okay, yeah, I'll just do, yeah.
8 foot. 12 at the peak.
It changed that. Oh, there it goes.
So there's your first
Okay.
couple doors. Now everything looks proportional.
Yeah. So that
the
would
building
be
is so big.
Okay. Okay, so it'd be 8 to the side, to the top.
Okay, so 8 right here.
Okay.
12 right here.
Okay, so it's still going to be pretty big on the inside.
It's still pretty huge on the inside. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah.
I feel like I should move that door over a little bit, though.
Over as far this way as possible?
Yeah.
So we'll do 1.5 feet.
Okay.
And now that's a little bit
Off.
is off.
Yeah, we need to center
Over
that.
a little bit more.
Yeah. Oh, this is exciting. Okay.
Looking better?
Yes. Much better.
We'll get your new office, huh?
Mm-hmm. I'm excited.
All right. So we have the doors, we have the sides, we have the building, we have the frame out.
Okay.
Windows. $79.55 plus tax.
Here is my plan I put together. I used an app called Planner 5D to actually create this whole rendering, which was really cool. I tried my best to like kind of set it up as if it was my house, the size of my house, size of my backyard, and get a full, you know, size comparison of what it was going to look like. So when you come out of the French doors, this is what you're going to see. It'll have a whole building, another porch. It's going to look like a whole like mother-in-law suite almost. We'll still have all the yard space that we currently use, so none of that, we won't lose any of that. It's going to be so beautiful. Look how awesome this is. Okay, so I'm going to do my best to give you like an idea of what we got going on back here. So when you come out of the sliding glass door and you look this way, this is what we see. We got 2 sheds, lots of stuff in between, storage stuff, and then we have all this landscaping here. All of that is going to be removed and replaced with one big building instead. And so the building will actually come out to where the pin is. So this will be the side, and then this will be the front. We're going to have 2 windows here, French doors, and then 2 more windows. And then we also have a door on the side, and then a window over here. So this door will access to the laundry room. So the laundry room will actually be a little bit closer to the house, which will be really nice. And all of this landscaping is getting pulled out, and this will be, we'll do like stone, or we'll pour a concrete slab eventually. And then this fence also will be removed, because in between this fence, there is just like an opening. I'll show you. See? The reason why we put this fence here was, at the time, the fence that was on the other side was broken really bad, and the dogs would like fight each other through the fence. So we just put this up temporarily to keep them separated. So we still have like a lot of yard right here too. So all this will be open. We can have like some plants back here instead. And then we can have access to the building from the side yard as well, if in the future we ever wanted to rent it out. So we could have, you know, like a gate coming here, and then you could go through this door on the side. I'm trying to think. So one of the things with this building, in order to get the permit, we had to come 5 foot in on our property line on all sides. So 5 foot from the house, 5 foot from our property line there, and then 5 foot from there. So like I said, the whole building will just kind of take up all this. And basically then at that point this will have to be removed because it won't fit. So this will be moved. We're going to kind of just scoot it back for now, but eventually we plan on rebuilding this. It'll be a little bit taller, a lot nicer too. We built this about 4 years ago, so that was our first ever big build. And it's held up great though. I mean, look how nice it is. So here's just like another angle of what we see. I never really show you guys all this because it's just not very appealing to the eye, having 2 separate sheds. But yeah, so we gotta start demoing everything. We have someone coming to get the shed, this palm tree we're moving to the other side of the yard, all this landscaping we're gonna dig up and try to move it, because it's all so pretty and it took off and it looks so good. So we're just gonna move everything to the back of the yard, and then yeah, we're gonna work on that first. That's our first step, getting all the crap out of here, and then working on tearing down the shed. And we gotta tear this down piece by piece. This is about to be a full reno. I can't believe this is happening. So that is the big plan. That is what's going on. Huge project to undertake, but I am so excited to be sharing the entire process with you guys. I will bring you along for everything, pricing, any hiccups that are along the way. I plan on sharing it all. So make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of it. Now, this whole project is gonna be kind of full force. We're gonna start obviously with like demo and getting things prepared, but he set our date for April 20th. So that's like right around the corner. There's not many weekends away. So we got a lot of work to do. So yeah, like I said, make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of it. Thank you so much for watching and being here and being so supportive along the way and encouraging us to do this, because this is one of those things where, like, if we didn't just do it, we were never going to do it. How long have we been talking about? Maybe one day doing a she shed, closing in the carport one day, maybe. But honestly, if you don't just do it, you're never going to do it type of thing. And we're jumping in head first. So thanks again for being here, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye, y'all.